Hey friends, it's Gordon, your host of the My Career Fit podcast, where we provide you all of the research and information on companies and career opportunities that you may be interested in. Get to know the CEO, the hiring leaders, the employment brand program managers of companies all over the United States that are continuing to hire. So continue to follow the podcast. We are continuing to add some fantastic employers to the list. Hopefully, at this point, we are adding just about one a week. So make sure you're subscribed so you get those updates. So there was an article recently posted by an organization called Axios, axios.com, AXIOS.com. I'll put a link to this article in the show notes. The article was actually entitled "The Second Jobs Apocalypse." That sounds horrible, right? Sounds absolutely terrible. Here's what's going on. United Airlines just last week warned that about 36,000 U.S. employees, their jobs were basically at risk. Walgreens cut more than 4,000 jobs recently. It was reported that Wells Fargo is preparing thousands of terminations this year, and Levi's just recently axed about 700 jobs due to falling sales. Now, those announcements followed similar ones from companies like Hilton, Hyatt, Marriott, Choice Hotels. They've all, of course, announced thousands of job cuts, and the bankruptcies of major U.S. companies like 24 Hour Fitness and Brooks Brothers have all come out in recent days and weeks. So what is going on? This Part 2 layoff scenario that we're beginning to see is basically the logical end result from a massive decline in consumer consumption, right? That all resulted from the pandemic and, of course, the economic shutdown that we all experienced in April as a result of the coronavirus. So let me just put this into as easiest perspective as I can. So picture this, your favorite restaurant. It's owned by a national restaurant company. And they had to shut down in March and April, and only now have they barely reopened, right? They've been doing takeout. They've had to lay off staff, furlough staff. There are nowhere near the same numbers of people coming out to eat now that things have opened up a little bit. And so they have continued to lay people off, and they've continued to, unfortunately, while furloughing some workers, they haven't been able to bring some of them back because they just don't have the business. That didn't help. So, of course, now they're closing down completely. As a result, vendors like kitchen manufacturers, food distributors, or even the company that sells the paper for the receipts that go in the cash register, or the company that makes the computer system that takes care of payments. It's a domino effect, and one layoff and closure results in the next layoff and closure, and this will realistically and unfortunately likely go on for probably the next 18 months, maybe more, depending on how bad this gets. Of course, now we're seeing this resurgence of the virus around the country. I'm in the state of Virginia. Our numbers have been basically kind of steady, and we've been seeing a decline in those coronavirus cases. But in the past 3 days since I recorded this podcast, we have seen an increase and an uptick in the numbers, and it's looking like we're probably about to see that surge hit our state as well. So what's happening is, instead of cashiers and cooks and waiters and waitresses losing their jobs now, it's corporate accountants, it's sales reps, it's technology staff, it's mid-tier managers, and so on. So how do you prepare in a situation like this? Well, the biggest thing I can tell you is don't get caught by surprise. Start now by getting your resume up to date. If you've been off of LinkedIn for a while, you need to get active again. You need to start answering those messages that you might be getting from recruiters, or maybe that you have received over the past year, because things were really good. You may not have been looking for a job, and now you probably need to be as well connected and networked as you possibly can be. So start looking at what posts and stories are trending on LinkedIn, and get involved in those discussions where you can add some value. Maybe write an article about your area of expertise, maybe how your area of expertise is being impacted by the virus and how your industry and your skill set can help companies solve problems because of all of this stuff. Create posts and just get yourself involved in the process of personal and professional branding, which is basically your reputation. Branding is just a really sexy word for your reputation. This is your online reputation. And of course, start networking. Keep your eye on the economy so you're not surprised. Read the news, pay attention to what's going on, so that, folks, if you do get that unwanted call or email to, can you come see me or do a call, and HR happens to be on the call with them, you know what I'm saying? I've been there before multiple times in my career, and that's not a good feeling when you see that email. Also, connect with recruiters and headhunters in your niche, in your area of specialty, and schedule some quick coffee Zoom calls, or Google Hangouts to chat about where the industry is and what they're seeing. Recruiters and headhunters are great for getting information on your industry and the employment situation going on in your industry specifically. So connect with industry-specific headhunters and recruiters and start asking them questions about, what's going on? What are they seeing? Are they seeing a lot of movement? Are they seeing a lot of layoffs? Are they saying, companies that are kind of holding on to people? They're going to have some of that tactical day-to-day information that you're not necessarily going to get from the news. So that's my 2 cents for you today, my friends. Stay prepared. Keep your eye on the ball. Don't get caught by surprise in a situation like this. You want to have your eyes up and open. Don't stare at the ground. Don't be status quo. This is definitely not a time to be status quo. You need to really be as active and as involved in your pre-job search as you possibly can, so that if that day does come, or if you do need to find your next job, or you do start to see the writing on the wall at your current organization, you already have a leg up on your competition. All right, folks, have a fantastic Wednesday. We'll see you next time. And remember, keep track of the podcast. We are always adding companies and organizations that are growing and hiring. And we're asking them all the tough questions for you. Things about mission, vision, culture. How have they been maintaining their culture during this pandemic? Do they work remotely? Do they not work remotely? How are they handling things? We're asking those questions so you don't have to. Have a great day. See ya.